Alright, welcome to round 7 of the FRL Division 1 Championship. Here we are in the slippery streets of Singapore as we're making our way through this rainy racetrack. We already have a few drivers making their way around on track right now. Our Wolfer getting ready to go. Well, actually, no, he is on his flying lap right now. And speaking of the lap around here, let's take a look at this track. So, the Marina Bay 3 circuit bears in total 23 corners and 3 DRS zones. One down the pit straight, the other just after turn 5, and the final one just after turn 13, which Wolford made his way through a little moment ago, but DRS won't come up because right now, well, we're in absolutely miserable conditions. So needless to say, that isn't going to change anytime soon, but it will in the race if I was told correctly. It will be dry in the race, so hopefully we'll be seeing some interesting battles, but wet qualifying is certainly going to mix a few things up, I would say. But meanwhile, throughout this track there are plenty of curves and it's very easy to make a mistake. Throughout Sector 1, now, I would actually say these cars make it a little bit easier now, and also with the new track limits you can get away with a lot more. Over goes 158.1, that is impressive. But also, depending on how you do your setup, well, you can be struggling here and there. The curves can be a little bit punishing depending on how you run it, but as I said before, track limits, compared from the old game to the new, track limits are far easier this time around, so you can really push the car way wider than you normally would in the previous one. So these drivers are definitely going to be sending it much more. Zip just crossed the line a little moment ago. Put himself decently close to Zip, but Ghostly puts himself even closer than that. Going second overall now. We have many others on the flying lap, so I have a feeling many are going to be struggling with traction around here. Of course, these wet conditions are not helping. But also, it's a very tight street circuit, which means the slightest mistake will probably mean you're going to end up in the wall, and well, you don't want that because, well, when that happens, you're probably going to end up breaking a front wing. And that's if you're lucky, because if you get other damage, like rear wing or something, then you are absolutely ruined. Sketchy Bull actually had to back off a little bit on that fire because of the Ferrari in front of him. He's not going to be too pleased about that. And Knobpop actually goes extremely wide. Amazing he doesn't invalidate. And now he's racing a little bit with Sketchy Bull. Oh, and Knobpop spins out a little bit. Sketchy Bull is actually on another flyer, but I guess the two are racing right now. And well, needless to say, Knobpop will not be too pleased about getting cut off a little bit like there. Like, right. Forgive me if I fumble a word or two. I am still suffering from a bit of long COVID. I have fully recovered from COVID, but I'm still suffering some of the after effects. More particularly brain fog. So, if you hear me completely just fumble a word harder than Ferrari's fumbling the championship, then, that's the reason why. Actually, speaking of fumbles, and a little bit of real-life F1 news, Daniel Ricciardo has announced that he's going to be leaving McLaren at the end of this year, which, I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody saw that one coming. We were just waiting for it to be announced. Now, if I had to guess if he was going anywhere, it would be not Williams, the only other options being Haas or Alpine. Honestly, I see him going back to, how would I describe it? Well, he's going back to the French team, to put it simply. Well, that is if he returns at all. I could honestly see him wanting to do a stint in NASCAR or maybe even IndyCar. Obviously, if he joined IndyCar, it wouldn't be with McLaren. But, it all depends on what he wants to do, really. But I think he still has some unfinished business in F1, so if he's gonna, I think he's gonna at least try to go for a seat. Oh, and Nodpop has actually validated their first run. They're going to have to make another attempt. I have a feeling many of these drivers have put in plenty of fuel to make multiple runs. Skid is actually getting ready to finish up the lap. Seems to be making good pace. Saucy in the Williams is making his way around. It's been a while since I've seen him. Good to see him back out on track right now. Doogie is also running on a flyer as well as that. No, I was going to say Pink, but no, he's in the pits. Gio is making his way around as well. And who is that that just crossed the line? I think it was Skid who just managed to go 6 overall. A solid run by him. That's going to put him very, very well ahead of other drivers' times, but only just a little bit ahead of Henny, who I imagine will be looking to improve, and someone certainly did just now. Wolver went from a 158 to a 157.6, just about. That is going to be a difficult one to beat, I would say. Oh, and Zip has crashed. He's going to be out of this session, running aboard with Max. Yep, there's the remnants of the Alfa Romeo, and you can see it right there with Slayer as well. I think he may have ridden a bit of the curve, got some oversteer into the wall. That's at least the speculation that I'm having at the current moment. On the bright side, he's on the racing line, so nobody else is going to get impacted by that, but that crash is certainly going to impact Zip here in Q1. And it's going to be full wet for the remainder of the session, although it may dry out as time goes on. Don't quote me on that, I could be wrong. And we have Pink slowly but surely making his way out of the pits. We need to be a little bit careful because traffic coming out of the pits can be a major problem, and Pink is being very, very courteous and respectful about that, as he should be, because, well, pit exit there can easily ruin someone. Meanwhile, on board with Geo here, he needs to put in just a decent time, and as long as it's ahead of Zip, and he's good to go. Oh, and that's not going to be what he's looking for. Still, he's going to be able to put himself 10th overall ahead of Ando and Not Bob. Not Bob, I bet he's going to be looking to improve. He's got plenty of ERS and just a little bit of fuel to pull that off, but he's getting a lot of understeer here, and that is not doing him any favors at the moment. Meanwhile, Saucy has invalidated one of his attempts. Slayer is working on his, getting a little bit squirrely there with the track limits, but keeping just within. Well, we also have Fred making his way around in the Williams. Actually, my Division 3 teammate who managed to... he's managed to score some really good results, actually. Got a win in Division 2 as a reserve driver. I bet he could pull in another one here in Div 1. Because I would say this, while Fred, he may not be the fastest in the league, I would say he's certainly consistent. And that consistency is what has brought him plenty of good results. Meanwhile, Not Pop, did he retire in the pits? I think he has. Well, that has put Hitman a little bit further forward, but with a 2.7. Well, unfortunately, I think that may put him near the back of the grid unless someone crashes and fails to set a time. The moments there seems to be managing just fine. Fred's getting started. Pink is getting ready to get started, and he has just now. Geo has invalidated another attempt. He's probably going to make his way into the pits, get a little bit more fuel, and get back out there. And actually, it would... actually, if it's going to be dry, they would be able to use both sets of wet tires and get away with it. Sketchy Bull, though, is going to make his way in and probably get some more fuel, or maybe a little more ERS. Actually, I think Geo is going to make another run for it. Looks like he is. Oh, but he goes a little wide there. Could that be this next lap invalidated? No, it's not. So it looks like he's in the clear and he can make another run for it. Meanwhile, Slayer, he must have invalidated around the final corner because this lap is already invalidated as well. He must have hit that final corner, went too wide, got this, and the next lap invalidated for him. Bit of a struggle there. Now Fred's making his way around on his own flying lap. Seems to be putting together a pretty solid time. Needs to be careful on the curbs here. I can attest to the fact that racing here in the rain, you will just slide off the curb. Like you will get yourself on there and then you'll just slide off like a kid trying to run up a water slide. It doesn't work. Now, there are some curves where you can get away with it though, as Fred showed just there in that particular curve. But if you're trying to ride a curb for too long, then you won't be able to get away with it. But Fred gets away with a decent time, puts himself ahead of Ando, and now 11th overall. His teammate Softy getting ready to go on a new flying lap. Both Mercedes online flying laps. Well, actually, Slayer needs to go around again. And Pink is about to finish up a lap, but this seems to be a struggle as he goes into the pits, goes a little bit out of the pits and back in, and he's got wing damage as well. Now Sui's making his way around on his own lap, and he's already off to a solid start, but it's going to be looking to improve. Yellow flag in sector 2. Gio, meanwhile, he actually improved by a significant margin, managed to go 7th overall. Good on him to improve. And who is that that was across the line? Ghostly finds plenty of improvement as well. Only it's just a little bit behind Wolfer now. Ghostly, he's improved into a much better form than he did last season, where he struggled a lot with consistency, but now he's really starting to put himself together nicely, and is honestly showing to be just as strong of a contender as his teammate. Envy, of course, is still in this fight for the championship, and honestly, I think it could be between these four. Meanwhile, we have Yeti representing for Alfa Romeo today, making his way down one of the main straights. I would say this would be the best overtaking straight, unless you count the one after turn 13, but honestly, that straight isn't very long. This is the longest one on the track, unless you count that one turn, but you go flat out there, so I don't really. We have Gio here going very slowly, just wanting to let by a driver on a flying lap. Skid is improving by a massive margin right now. If he continues at this rate, he's going to put himself potentially into the 157s. If he does that, he's safely going to make his way into Q2. Skid is looking very good here in the wet, putting in remarkable pace. Getting a little bit close to the wall there, but that's exactly what he needs to do to push the limits there. And now as he gets ready to cross the line, can he get into it? No, he can't, but he gets quite close. And already that time is going to be strong enough to put himself into Q2 and into the top 5. Well, pretty much everybody is out on a flying lap or getting ready to go on a flying lap, so it's going to be a little bit traffic heavy at the moment. Sui will not be able to improve. Ghostly certainly thus, managing to go first overall. That's track evolution starting to show itself a little bit. As more and more of these drivers are making their way through, it's forming a little bit of a dry line, and that's allowing these drivers to pick up a little bit more pace. Now Saucy, bangs the wall a little bit. That might be some wing damage. Actually, his car looks for the most part intact, but he could very well be suffering a bit of phantom damage for that. Still, getting a little bit close to the track limits there through Sector 3. All he needs to do is go a little further, and his lap will be complete. But he's got a Mercedes on an outlap, and that has certainly just messed up Saucy's lap. He's not going to be too pleased about that one, I bet. But at the very least, he should be able to cross the line, but looks like he's struggling a little bit for pace right now. Still getting ready to cross the line. Can he improve on his current spot? No, he can't. He's going to be stuck in 16th. Meanwhile, Pig is making his way on his flying lap. Slayer going for another run as well. And both of them don't have enough. Well, they do have enough time, but they don't have much of it left. And Slayer immediately invalidates. Crashes into the wall into Saucy because Saucy was already done as well. And Slayer gets a 5-second penalty. Well, not 5 second, 5 plate script penalty. It's insult to injury. And I think Slayer may have actually just full-on rage quit there because he's out of the session. Meanwhile, Pink is going on this last run. He can't afford to make any mistakes. But knowing Pink, he's either going to do really well qualifying or he's going to completely fit it and then make a really hard comeback drive. There's typically no in between for him. But either way, I think by the end of the race, we're going to see him near the front. and Pink, he spun out just as he was getting ready to cross the line. That has just cost him a spot in Q2. Pink is going to be eliminated. Well, as I said, he either does really well in quali or not so good. But as I said, either way, if he starts in the back, he's going to be making a really hard comeback drive, and that's typically what he does. Slayer just kept on invalidating, couldn't find any time, unfortunately for him. So he's going to be out. So eliminated here in Q1 will be Not Bob Saucy, Pink, and Slayer. Zip crashed, however, so that means we're only gonna... Actually, did Zip crash? I think he might have. I don't remember. He may have. Yeah, I know Not Pop crashed. Really, so I'm gonna have to check. Okay, Zip did crash, so that means only 3 drivers are gonna be eliminated in Q2, and then we're gonna go on to Q3. At the moment, Ghostly is leading the timetables, and that is looking really good for him. Alpine once again showing just really good pace. Skid is actually performing quite well himself. Seems very comfortable around this track. I think it's going to be a sure fight between Alpine and McLaren, quite like it is in real life right now. Although instead of the front of the field, they're fighting for the top of the midfield. Alright, here we are now in Q2. So as I said before with the previous drivers crashing, only 3 drivers are going to get. Only 3 drivers are going to get eliminated. Brain fog, brain fog is ruining me right now. But looks like we may have a couple drivers maybe wanting to attempt a set of intermediate tires. And I think Gio may want to try it, and he is going to try it right now. Interesting decision. And I have a feeling everybody else is going to be eyeing Gio very closely to see if the intermediate is actually a good choice here. Either that or Gio really used up his wets too much and he doesn't want to use another set. Although, I would hope that isn't the case. And I don't think it would be. And well, to be fair, the track does look much clearer than it did before. Rain looks a little less heavy as well. You can see much less spray as well, so yeah, maybe the Inter isn't a bad choice at all. I guess we're gonna find out. Yeah, you can see much less spray than you did before, so not as severe. And well, I guess it's a sign it may dry out as time goes on. Still, I imagine a lot of these drivers are happy that they can save plenty of sets of tires, well, slick tires it is, going into the race, which should be dry. We have most of the field out on track right now, only a few remaining in the pits. I imagine just wanting to wait for a little bit more of the track to clear, but at the moment, Skid is going to be starting off with his teammate right behind, and then we have the Aston Martin of Taylor Boss behind him, then Henny, and I believe that is, yep, Max, followed by Henny's teammate Gio, and the Alfa Romeo of Yeti. So we've got a bit of a queue there. Skid is certainly wasting no time, already underway for a flying lap, digging in deeply on that curve there, giving him a nice little bit of a turn there. Oh, looks like Gio decided to make his way into the pits. Maybe he just wasn't too confident about those enters after all. Actually, Max is invalidated on his run. Wolver's going to continue on his. Skid looking real confident there, getting a little bit close to the wall. Exactly as he needs to be, though. That's going to be plenty of speed going for him. Meanwhile, we have Ando starting a lap. So, oh, and that's Ghostly. Slowly but surely making his way out of the pits, wanting to avoid a little bit of traffic there. And making his way out now. And looks like Gio did decide the intermediates was a mistake. He's now gone on a set of wets, so he's going to make his way back out. Now, Skid is going to be setting the time to beat for the rest of the field, going across the line, and he is going to set a very strong lap. 158, so about even to where he was before. Still, his teammate was nearly half a second faster. Can he pull that off again? Not so much. Had a bit of a struggle right there at the end. I think just getting on way too much curb for his own good. Still, it's going to put him just ahead at the moment. McLaren leading Taylor Boss in the Aston Martin. Meanwhile, both Suki and Max have validated. Max is going to have another shot here, though, and he is going to absolutely send it on this run. Alright, Envy is making his way through right now, making his way into Center 3, which I would say is probably the most difficult part of this entire track. A lot of near 90-degree turns. Speaking of, Ghostly spun just through that section, and he's going to have to get out of the way of the Red Bull, making his way through now. So Ghostly just is a... While he's being courteous there, just playing by the rules, letting him by, so that way he doesn't end up impeding. Because we have pretty strict rules about that. If you impede anyone in quality, that's going to be an immediate quality ban. Oh, Sugi's struggling there with grip. You can see there, just getting a little bit of oversteer while trying to keep on the throttle. And, oh, looks like it was Yeti across the line a little while ago. Managed to go third overall, putting in a good time for Alfa Romeo right now. And I still can't get over how gorgeous that car looks. Still the best car on this entire grid in terms of looks. Some might say the Ferrari, but I'm going to be honest. It's all red. It's just red. It's a very nice shade of red, but this shade of red is nicer. Also, that classic lettering of the Alfa Romeo there, it's the icing on the cake. Absolutely perfect. Meanwhile, we go to another car whose design I'm fond of. Well, until they stripped off all the paint for the carbon. Fred making his way through on the Williams, and Max Verstappen put in a mega lap, going first overall in the first time into the 156. What a lap by him. That is going to put him nearly a full second of his nearest competition, Wolfer. That's going to be a tough one to beat, but I think if anyone could challenge, it would be his teammate, who is putting in mega times right now. Now we have Ghost making his way through Sector 3 right now, and he is looking quite confident in his capabilities. He's soon going to cross the line. And I think that was it. We just crossed the line a moment ago. Or, wait. Did that just change, or was that... It was Endo just crossed the line to go 8th overall. On Ghostly crossing the line, where is he going to put his car? He meant to put himself now second. Right now, we're looking at an Alpine 1-2, McLaren 3-4. Never mind, Sketchy Bolt just cut that out. And he's going to split the McLarens in half, going fourth himself. So it's gonna be an interesting battle between the Endstone outfit and the Woking outfit, right? I think it's kind of space for Woking. I could be completely wrong on that. That's another team. Or I could be messing up the pronunciation. Now Geo is on a really nice run right now, actually, getting ready to cross the line. Where can he put his AlphaTauri going across? He manages to go only 10th. Actually, I thought he had a little bit more time in there, and I have a feeling he has more time in it, and he knows it, and he's gonna send it again. Or actually, he may be a little bit too low on fuel to pull that off. He's probably gonna have to go into the pit before attempting another run. Nope, he looks like he is sending it, indeed. Meanwhile, Ando at the moment can't find any improvement, and he's going to make his way into the pits, it looks like. And following behind is a Mercedes of Sugi. Alright, Geo has invalidated. That is unfortunate for him, but he is going to have another chance, and it will be his last, so he's got to make it count. Yeti, meanwhile, he's already finding a bit of improvement, and that's exactly what he needs right now. Ando and Taylor will need plenty of improvement, but I think Taylor may have actually hit the wall a little there. If he did, then that means Taylor Boss will be facing elimination. Fred, meanwhile, oh, he's going to be cutting it very close when he crosses the line to get underway. He is going to need to move very quickly. And I think that was and the rather Envy across the line just a moment ago to go 4th overall. That's going to be a solid rate of improvement. Wolper, I hope, reconnects soon if he didn't already. Meanwhile, Ando, he is finding more improvement. He's now potentially in the 158s, but he needs to put in another few tests if he hopes to get ahead of Sugi, who's currently 10th right now. But I think Sugi's going to want to change that as he's making his way through right now on one last run, but he's got a Haas right behind him with Sketchy Bull. Okay, that's Sugi spun out there for a moment. No, we're good. But Sketchy Bull is on a flyer. Not too far behind the Mercedes with Sugi. Fred will be cutting it a little bit close, but I do think he's going to make it with just a few seconds left to spare. And indeed, that is exactly the case. And this is going to be his final run. He's going to need to make it count. And I think Henny is actually... Oh no, he just crossed the line and proved to go 3rd overall ahead of Wolfer. A very good lap by him. He might be putting himself in contention as well. Yeti also put in a nice lap a little moment ago. Put himself 5th. These times are stacking up to be much closer, especially as its track is evolving over time. The track evolution is really proving a factor here. Ando goes 7th overall. Skid, having retired, he may be facing elimination if Sugi finds enough improvement at the moment. He rode that curve very hard there. I don't know if Sugi will be able to improve. He'll need to somehow find half a second in this final sector because... Oh, never mind. He's going to need to find 7/10 in this final sector because he's down 2 now. Actually, if he just gets 2/10 ahead of Gio, he'll be able to put himself in. Fred, at the moment, can't find any improvement, however. Oh, and Sugi is just struggling so heavily with oversteer there. Now, one thing that may also be proving a struggle for these drivers is the fact that if the race is going to be dry, well, it would be in their best interest to run a dry setup as Sugi spins across the line. Oh! Okay, he nearly killed the Haas there. That was a scary moment as Sugi just planted his car into the wall. He's just resigned himself to his fate. Fred might still have something left to say, but he's going to need to find a whole lot more time. At the very least, though, with the rate of improvement, he could put himself ahead of Taylor Boss and put himself 12th overall, but he's going to need to find much more. Now it's going to be down to this final corner, really, for him, and that's going to decide if he makes it in to Q3 or not. Going across the line, he does improve enough to get out of Taylor, but as I predicted, 12 is the best he's going to get. And Eddie will cross the line. That will be about the end of Q2. We're just waiting on Yeti to retire in the pits, and we'll be moving on. Alright, that's going to be the end of Q2. Facing elimination will be Sugi, Fred, and Taylor. Everybody else is going to be moving on to Q3, and at the moment we have plenty of full teams in here. We have both Red Bulls, Alpines, AlphaTauris, and McLarens, with the 2 outliers being Sketchy Bull in the Haas and Yeti in the Alfa Romeo. Yeti is actually doing really well right now. I'm quite impressed. He is up there with the top contenders. Sorry about that. That was a little bit of a misclick. That is, well, that was a previous project that I'm just discontinuing. Don't worry about it. But I do have a couple other projects in store, including an F1 podcast that I'm planning to set up. Now, I would be covering it this season, but we're already at the halfway point, so I'd rather just wait until the start of the next season. But up until that point, the idea is to cover just the Formula One season as it goes along with other topics, specifically like certain seasons or certain drivers and rivalries, etc. A few ideas lined up. Let's see here. We have the rivalry of Senna Prost. Let's see here. Lauda and Hunt. And we also have driver ones that are planned, like Kimi Raikkonen. And at the end of the season, we're planning to do one for Sebastian Vettel. And, well, of course, one for Lewis Hamilton and Alonso when they both retire, respectively. As well as, of course, certain seasons, like, I need to cover 2007, 8, 9, 2021, and probably some older seasons that I can find. And of course, other famous world champions like Schumacher, Fangio, pretty much all the essentials. But here we are now in Q3. Everybody's out on track except for Evie, who decided to take a little bit of a break in the pit lane for now, just deciding to let everybody else take a run before he takes one himself. And this weather is just not letting up, but then again, neither are these drivers. They are going to full send it on yet another flyer, and yet he's actually letting by a couple of drivers. Oh, actually just one. That's Ghostly he's letting by. Probably because he knows the pace Ghostly has and doesn't want to get in his way. If I were in Yeti's shoes, I probably would have done the exact same thing because Ghostly, again, he's been putting in flyers fastest time in Q1, a strong time in Q2. I think he could put himself top 5 at minimum here in Q3. And Wolfer is going to be the first one to get underway right now in the McLaren. His teammate getting ready to join him on a flyer, but first ahead of him is going to be Max and Yeti. Now you have most of the field now on fire, so 2 Red Bulls. Oh, that is unfortunate for Ando. On the bright side, the pit lane is right there. So as long as he just backs up and just shimmies his way in, he'll be able to get going. Yep, there we go. His car is reoriented. That's unfortunate, though. He was about to go on a flyer, and then he just completely spun out and smashed his front wing. On the bright side, he didn't smash up his tire, so he'll still be able to continue. Right now, Wolfer is just putting in a mega lap, and I have a feeling this one lap is going to be the time to beat, at least for now, because if track development continues as it does, and track evolution does, well, we're just going to see times just continue to accelerate over time. At the moment, Wolfer is sitting a little bit close to the wall there, but now he's going to cross the line. The time to beat is going to be a 156.6. That is a very strong lap and a tough one to beat. Henny cannot come close right now, but still puts in a very respectable time of a 157. Max certainly puts in a very good effort. Only a mere 5 thousandths off of him. That is very close. I imagine Max is just a little bit frustrated about that one. His teammate is just a little bit further off, however, but still, third overall. Like I said, I think Ghostly certainly has a pace to be top 5, and he's showing it right now. Now Gio crossing the line. Where can he put himself? He only puts himself 7th overall. Skid with that 2-minute 4. I know he's going to be wanting to improve. He's been doing quite well here in qualifying. And I think he's going to be looking to improve even further. Envy now on a flying lap. His teammate going out after getting his front wing broken. This is going to be essential for Envy right now. He needs to put himself high up. Otherwise, it's going to be a tough time. As I said before, it's difficult to overtake around here. So, it's going to be interesting. Now, of course, this is a street circuit. But it's not a street circuit quite like Baku, where overtaking is quite common around here, mainly thanks to that massively long straight. Around here, even though there's 3 DRS zones, you're not going to see a ton of overtaking. On the bright side, at the very least it'll be in the dry, so you'll probably be seeing more than you would in the wet. And right now, it looks like most of the field put in plenty of fuel, so they're all looking to improve. Kenny cannot find any improvement right now, but he's going to go for a new flyer right now. I think he may have done a cooldown lap before doing a new flyer, actually. Jesse Bull's looking to find some improvement here, though, but he won't, and he's going to make his way into the pits now as he banged the wall a little bit there. Now Skid crossing the line, puts himself only 7th overall. Yeti, meanwhile, puts himself 4th. He's actually doing quite well right now. Henny, I imagine, will want to put himself a little bit further up. Meanwhile, Envy puts himself 4th now, and that is going to put him on the 2nd row. Delphi just finds a little over a 10th. He can put himself ahead of Ghostly. Wow, he's just completely cutting the track right now. I think he's just showing little concern. He's probably going to want to make his way into the pits and make one more run. Okay, everybody's put a time now on the board. Anno is the only one remaining. Gio. I know he's going to want to find some improvement. I think he's got plenty of pace in him, maybe to put himself top 5. Max certainly puts in enough pace to put himself there, all the way up to the top, putting himself nearly 4/10 ahead of Wolfer. That is going to be a very difficult time to beat. I think Max may have just secured pole position with that, but Wolfer is certainly not going to give up, and neither will Ghostly, right behind Wolfer, actually. Well, actually, Alpine used to be Renault, and well, if my memory is correct, they've had a history here. I'm not going to go any further than that. For those who know, you know. But Max and Ghostly wouldn't do that. I mean, it helps that, I think it was, Flavio Briatore. I could be completely butchering that name, but on the right side, he isn't here, so chances of that happening are minimal. I hope. Ando's making his way around on a flying lap, but he's gonna have a struggle of one, and he's gonna want to make another attempt here in a moment, but this will be his last attempt, so he's gotta make this one count. So here he goes right now into turn 1, taking plenty of curb there, taking curve there as well, doing exactly what he needs to, and he wants to get on the throttle as early as he possibly can, and he's succeeding at that. Now it's a matter of handling this next turn. It's a little easy to understeer or oversteer there, depending on your setup. But Ando keeps it clean and is already seemingly managing much better than he did before. Has he found any improvement? Well, considering that he's 15 seconds ahead, I would wager to say so. Not improving right now will be the AlphaTauri of Henny. Just planted firmly into the wall there. And that's good. And he does it again. Well, I think it's safe to say Henny's qualifying is going to be over. His best start is going to be 6th. His teammate, though, not over just yet, because he's making his way on the new flyer right now. Getting ready to go on one last run himself. But, oh, I don't think he's going to make it. I don't think he's going to make it at all. Nope, he's not going to make it. Actually, I'm not sure. Envy won't make it either. He absolutely will not make it. Envy's best start is going to be 4th. Skid, his best start is going to be 8th. Meanwhile, checking with Wolver, he's actually down a little bit on his previous time. That's not good for him. This may have just secured pole position for Max Verstappen. Ghostly hasn't given up. I think he just hit a purple sector too. If so, he's putting in a blistering time. Could it be enough to put himself ahead of Wolfer and make it an Alpine front row lockout? Wolfer, though, getting ready to cross the line. Can he find enough improvement? It's going to be close, but he invalidates around the final corner. And that's going to be it for him. Meanwhile, Ghostly, he's found a lot of improvement. It could be enough to beat Wolfer. Going across the line, he manages to spin, but still secure an Alpine front row lockout. If he didn't spin there, that may have been a potential pole position for him. Still, an incredible time. Alpine is looking incredible right now. And that is going to be the end of qualifying. Max Verstappen takes a stunning pole position, his teammate joining him on the front row to make an Alpine front row lockout, followed up by Wolfer, Envy, Sketchy Bull, Geo, Yeti, Henny, Skid, and Ando, rounding out the top 10. That was a very thrilling wet qualifying, but I'm pretty sure everybody's going to be preferring a dry race, which will be coming up shortly. We'll be seeing you all then.